Hi there, welcome back to Jigsaw Cali's technical tutorials. We're back with our Hyper-V tutorial, and today what we're going to be doing is installing the infamous Kali Linux onto your Windows 10 or Windows 11 workstation with Hyper-V or with the Hyper-V feature already enabled. This video assumes that you have already enabled this video, or I'm sorry, this feature. If you do not know how or have not done so, please go back and look at my playlist. I will also add a link into the description because there is another video where I cover exactly how to enable the Hyper-V feature on your Windows 10 or Windows 11 PC. All right. Um, Now, if you have already done so and you're on the same page as I am right now, then you're ready to go. So let's get started. First and foremost, we want to obviously have the Hyper-V feature enabled, so I already have that enabled. And because I do, the next thing for us to do is going to be to download the Kali Linux um, media. So it's really easy to find Kali Linux by just download by just typing Kali download into Google, for example, or going to Kali, KALI.org. Okay, I cannot talk today. Again, anyway, so I'm going to press on this first link, Get Kali, Kali Linux. We're going to select Installer Images, and we're going to scroll down just a little bit, and the 64-bit image is what we want. I'm going to click the download button. Um, and since I already have the media, I'm not actually going to download it, but I already did download it to my desktop here. So go ahead and download your media to wherever that makes sense for you, and just remember where it was. I'm going to press cancel here because, like I said, I already have the image and going to get right to creating the virtual machine. If you have to pause the video to download the ISO, please do so. Otherwise, let's get started. Alright, so to create a new VM, click on the host name on the left hand side, right click rather, click new, and select virtual machine, just like with every other virtual machine in Hyper-V. Alright, we're going to press next then before you begin, and let's name our virtual machine. Our new virtual machine is going to be called Kali Linux 001. You can name this whatever you want. I'm going to leave the defaults here. We're going to select Generation 2. So as you see, I've specified the name and then I press next. You can, however, on this screen, store the virtual machine in a different location. Feel free to change this, from your C drive to another disk that has more space. But in my case, I have plenty of space and it's good enough for this video. So I'm going to uncheck that and press next. Here, go ahead and select Generation 2. You get a lot more with Generation 2. You can click on this link here to find out what Microsoft means by Generation 2 versus Generation 1. There's lots of good information at this Microsoft link on the bottom here. I'm going to go ahead and press Next. I'm going to assign some memory to our new virtual machine. 1 gig would be enough to set up Kali Linux, but I'm going to give it a little bit more juice. I'm going to give it 4 gigs, and that's 4,096 megabytes. That's what the equivalent of 4 gigs is. So go ahead and enter whatever makes sense for you. You could leave it at 1 or 1,024, I think it was, and press next when you're ready. I'm going to select the default switch here so that way our new VM can get on the internet, and press next. Alright, here the only thing that I'm going to adjust is I'm going to change this size of our new disk from 127 gigabytes, which is way too much that's needed for this installation, and 30 is actually too much, but I'm going to select that just so I'm not taking up unneeded space on my C drive. Feel free to change it and follow along with the 30 as well. I'm going to go ahead and press next. So we have some options here. Install an operating system later, install an operating system from a bootable image drive, or file rather, and that's what we just downloaded from the Kali.org website, or install an operating system from a network-based installation server. In our case, we're going to select the middle option. We're going to click Browse. Browse to the location where you have your downloaded Kali Linux installation media, and select it, and then press OK. Now your screen should look something similar to mine with the path of your disk, obviously being different. I'm going to go ahead and press next. All right. So to create the virtual machine and close the wizard, we're going to press finish. So that's the easy part. Actually, all this is easy, but we're done with creating the virtual machine. So the way we're going to continue is I'm going to go ahead and double click on the VM, or you can right click on it and press connect. And I'm going to go ahead and click start here, or you can choose to use this little power button as well. Clicking start. One thing, we're actually going to, I'm sorry, so we're going to turn this off. There's one step that I forgot to show you guys. So I went ahead and turned my virtual machine off. We're going to want to go into settings, scroll down to security and secure boot enabled, and go ahead and uncheck this box here. Leaving this checked is going to make it impossible for you to boot from that virtual image. So uncheck enable secure boot in the settings for your new VM. Press apply, OK, and now we can go ahead and click start. All right, and if everything went well, you'll be looking at the same screen as I am right now. If you're getting some sort of an error, it's because your secure boot setting is still enabled, so please shut down this VM all the way off, or rather use the turn off command. And it is not the save guy, it's going to be this guy. Turn it all the way off. And then uncheck that setting for secure boot that I just showed you before booting this up. Press apply, then OK, and then boot up your system, and you should be looking at the exact screen that I'm looking at now. Excuse me. So we're looking at the Kali Linux installer page. For our purposes, we're going to select the graphical install, the pre-selected option, and press enter. All right. Virtual media, Linux is complaining a little bit. This is absolutely fine. You can't dismount our DVD or CD-ROM disk. Anyways, let's select the language. It's going to be English for me. This is going to be United States for my location. So I'm going to press continue. My keyboard is going to be the American English format. Feel free to change any of this if this is different for you. I'm going to press continue, however. All right, so some pre-install tasks from Kali Linux, loading some additional components. This is absolutely normal. This will go faster or slower depending on what kind of system you're working with. Detecting our network hardware, and that would be virtual hardware, obviously, in this case. Virtual and physical on our host. All right, and I do have DHCP running on this network, so that is why it got an IP from my DHCP server. So, anywho, let's enter the hostname for this system. I'm going to use Kali Linux. Kali Linux 01 for the name of my new Kali Linux computer. You can change this to whatever makes sense for you, or feel free to copy this one, this host name. And then we're going to press continue. The domain name. We don't have a domain, so we can go ahead and just leave this blank and press continue. Next, set up users and passwords. So for my user, I'm going to just call him user. You can make this your name, whatever makes sense for you, and then press continue. Okay, what happened here? All right, perfect. Had to hit continue twice. All right, so and then we need to enter a password for our new user account. So go ahead and do that 2 times. You boys and girls already know the drill. This is like pretty standard nowadays. Enter the password twice to make sure that you know what the password is, I guess. And when you're done, you can press continue. If you're not sure if you typed in the right keys or whatnot for your password, you check this box here. Excuse me, and then you'll be able to confirm in clear text, or in plain text rather, what your password looks like. If everything's cool, go ahead and press continue. Alright, here you need to select your time zone. I'm actually in the central time zone, so I went ahead and selected that and pressed continue. Alright, next we get to deal with our virtual disks and partitions. What we want to do here at the partition disks selection menu is we're going to use the default, the guided use entire disk option. So go ahead and leave that selected and press continue. Next, we need to select a disk. This is our 30 gig Microsoft Virtual Disk. So It's 32.2 gigs technically, but this is the correct disk and an only disk. So I'm going to go ahead and press continue. You should see something similar, though your size may differ if you did not change or changed your disk size to anything other than what I used, which was 30 gigs. Okay. Next screen. We are going to leave the default setting recommended for new users as all files in one partition and press continue. Okay. And we come to a new screen. So this is our disk. We have 1 mega free space and another mega free space. We have a swap volume. We have our main volume, 30.6 gigs. And then we have our other volume from Linux. Now, um, we can go, if we're ready, which in this case we are, we're going to go ahead and select Finish Partitioning and write changes to disk and press Continue. And again, asking us the same thing, yes, we can go ahead and write these changes to our virtual disk. So select yes, press Continue. All right. And as you see, we're already installing our base system of Kali Linux. And it's chugging along, so we shall be done very soon. And just like everything else, this really depends on the hardware you're working with. The hardware that's running your virtual hardware, if that makes sense, and I'm sure it does. And we are halfway done. You're getting very close to running that sweet, sweet Kali Linux. Also, if you're doing this configuration anywhere like where someone maybe share a computer or something like that, be careful installing this. This does have some tools that can cause havoc if you're, for example, using a school computer. So, use your best judgment with this operating system because you can cause some issues for people. But we're going to assume that we're all good people. I'm not condoning any malicious behavior whatsoever, and this is all for research purposes only. So, yeah, please be, take care with Kali Linux. But the other thing I wanted to mention is that be careful naming your host with the name Kali in it. For example, like what I used for my host name. Because if you are on a shared network and you have an IT department or something watching and they see Kali Linux, they're probably going to come talk to you and ask you what this is and why you have it running there. All right. All right, so we're just running through the installation. This is basically hands off here. Cool. So at the moment, only the core of the system is installed. So that means our Linux kernel and stuff is there. Our operating system is there. However, we will install. It says the default selection below will install Kali Linux with a standard desktop environment and the default tools. So you can customize this here. Um, so there are a few desktop environments, GNOME and KDE and XFSC. We're going to go ahead and leave all the defaults here and press continue. Those other two options are, also the GUI desktop interfaces. So like in Windows, it would be like almost like a theme, but they actually do differ quite a bit. So for this purpose, just stick with the X. I can never say that acronym, but the first option, so that we're all looking at the same exact thing on our screen. Rather, you're looking at this video and onto your virtual machine screen, and we are all on the same page. And as you see, about 22 seconds remaining. Sometimes these ETAs lie. As you see, just went up back to 24 seconds, but we will be done very, very soon. The great thing about Linux is the performance. You can take some very old hardware if you wanted to install, and probably wouldn't install Kali Linux on it, but like Ubuntu or something like that, which I do cover in another video that I recently made. But you can get a really old laptop. Like I found an old compact that was brand new, and it was impossible to use with the 2 gigs of RAM and a Celeron processor. However, I threw Ubuntu on it, and now it's usable again. There, it doesn't lag every 2 seconds. It actually is very usable. So just something to keep in mind. Now there's another another tidbit while we're waiting. There are a lot of different forks or types of Linux out there. Kali Linux is one of them. Ubuntu is another one. I mean, there are quite a few, and based on different kernels and so forth. So just be aware of that. I mean, if you get interested in this Linux stuff, there is a lot of stuff out there. The community is great. It is lots of support out there. Um, and most of the stuff is open source. Things like Red Hat are actually not open source, so you have to have a license. But Kali Linux, Ubuntu, it is open source, and you can go ahead and install it on your Windows box and just have fun with it. Yeah, I'm gonna save you guys the watching the status bar. So we'll be right back when this is about ready. Chugging, chugging, chugging along. Ah, we're almost there, folks. It's been a while since I installed Kali, and it's taken its sweet time, but I'm trying to save you folks some time by editing some of this waiting out. Alright, it's finishing the installation. So this took a little bit longer than I anticipated, but chances are I'm probably running a much under spec system compared to what you boys and girls are using today. As this is my just mess around rig. That's not part of my home lab, but um, it's not a bad machine by any means. It's got plenty of resources, but this is taking quite a bit longer than the Windows installs, which is possible. But all we can do is just hang out, and wait for this to finish. All right, folks. So if you've been following along with me, you're probably looking at the same screen here, and it states that installation is complete. It is time to boot into your new system. Make sure to remove the installation media so that you boot into the new system rather than restarting the installation. In order to do so, to remove the media, we need to select media up here. Select our DVD drive and eject if you have one still in here. Looks like Kali was actually able to eject my ISO image, so just check this just to make sure there isn't something in here. And if there is, press eject, and then you can press continue, which should restart the system and bring us to our login screen. Yes. So this automatically selects that option, or you can press enter like I just did. Beautiful, beautiful Kali wallpaper there. All right. So our username was user. Enter your password and click login or press enter. And you are now logged in into Kali Linux. Not going to go over a lot of the stuff here, but just so you know, this is like your start menu in Windows. It's located on the top left. These are all the pre-installed tools that you can use only for research. Um, you know, reverse engineering or just, reading about stuff. There's a lot of stuff here. Feel free to read about it. There's tons of information on the forums. And yeah, that's pretty much it. But now you have a full-blown version of Kali Linux running on your Windows box. And it's running perfectly well, too. So anyway, thank you for watching this video. Please like, subscribe, or leave a comment, or do all three. I really, really appreciate you guys and girls. So thank you very much. Leave a comment. Let me know what you'd like to see next in these videos. And I will make sure to get those put up. Thank you very much, and have a great day.